What's up guys, Smith here, and today I want to share with you my super meth and coke factory setup in schedule 1, which will allow you to mix all of the materials you need for meth and coke under the same roof to produce some of the most expensive and rewarding strands in the entire game. So we are going to be making Super Piss, which has an asking price of $343, and then Wedding Crack, which has an asking price of $750. Now, I'm going to show you the methodologies here. Feel free to scale it back. I've gone over the top on purpose. I really want to just get like literally truckloads of product. You don't need to do any of this at this scale. You can limit it back a little bit. Once you've got it up and running, you don't need it running permanently. Just a few days at a time to get you a ton of stock, fill up your dealers, and then just go and play other parts of the game. But let's dive into it. Okay, so moving first to the meth production. Now again, scale this down. You do not need to match what I'm doing here. I'm not going for maximum efficiency in my factory. I'm just going for the most amount of product I can possibly make just to future-proof my save, so I've always got money. So I would start with 2 chemists and 1 handler here. You don't need what I've got. Again, don't go too crazy early on. This is a very, very expensive process through both the meth and cocaine manufacturing through to production. It's going to cost you a lot of cash. So for this one, it's very, very simple. We've got 2 chemists and a handler, right? So I'm going to show you what we're going to have to do. All you're going to have to do is assign a chemist to 2 chemistry stations and to 2 lab ovens. So go one of my chemists here. You can see she is assigned to 2 chemistry stations and 2 ovens. Then all you have to do is make sure you've got stock of each item behind the chemistry station. So you're going to want 1 large shelving unit for each one. And you're going to want to put phosphorus, acid, and pseudo on there. Now this is a very important part. I've gone over this in another video, but I'll go over it again real quick. Your handlers, when they take stuff off of these shelves, do not have any understanding of what is needed in this section here. So they will just take the first 3 items off the shelf. So if you have pseudo acid, they will put pseudo acid on here, and it won't work. It won't do anything. So before you start your whole rotation, I suggest you do this but yourself. Put 10 acid, 10 pseudo, and 10 phosphorus on here, and then have a stack of 10 of each twice. So we've got pseudo, phosphorus, acid, pseudo, acid, phosphorus. The exact order doesn't make a difference as long as it's 1 of each in a row and then 1 of each in a row. I've got that behind all of the stations here. And then you just tell your handlers that one of their routes down here like this is to click the shelf and then click the bench. This will tell the handlers to take the stuff off the shelf, put it on the bench, and do that for each of the shelves you've got. Then just make sure that your chemistry station, the destination is the lab oven opposite, and then put a storage rack behind each lab oven and then choose that as a destination for that. So basically what's happening here is the chemists are going to come in and work. Every time there's ingredients here, they will come in and cook. You can see pretty much all of my stations are going. They come back in and do the second stations in a second. And as soon as they've done that, they bring it over to cook. And then it ends up on these storage racks. And that's where this particular part of the process stops. All your meth will be on these storage racks. I've got 1 for each of the ovens just because it means I have to come back here less often. This stuff here, you've got to remember, it's a 7-minute process to actually make the liquid meth itself. So the stuff you've got on here, 20 times, you're only going to have to come back here probably once every sort of 2.5 hours. It's 8 minutes, so about 2.5 hours real time. So as long as you've got a decent supply of stock on here, you won't have to come back to this bit too much, which is good because the other part is a lot more hands-on. So once you've got your meth factory going, you can leave that alone for a couple of hours. If you do run out of materials, it's not the end of the world. Nothing's going to break. Like, they'll stop doing what they're doing, but as soon as you start the process again and put all the stuff back on the shelves, they will continue as normal. So let's go back to the main factory now and see how the manufacturing process works. Okay, so now all your meth is being produced at scale. You can just simply throw it into the back of your truck and head over to your next base. I'm using this one because it's the biggest, and you do need a lot of space for this one set up. So this is kind of a mishmash of a few of my past videos. So basically, whenever your meth gets here, take it off your truck and put it on what I'm going to call the finish shelf. That's this shelf here. Meth and coke are both slow. That's one of the main reasons I wanted to combine these two, because just cocaine, you're making enough profit, but it's slow. Whereas if you put them both together, the sort of slow speed complements each other, and you put out product at a much more reasonable pace. The secret sauce for this one is that you need exactly the same mixer ingredients. So you start with motor oil, then coke, then paracetamol, then gasoline, then coke, then batteries, then horse semen, and then the mega beans, sorry. Both recipes are exactly the same, so it doesn't matter if there's coke on here or if there's meth on here. When it goes through, it will come out with the same high value products, the ones I showed you at the start of the video, the Wedding Crack and the Super Piss. Now again, just whenever you're selling these Super Piss especially, always up the asking price by $10, $20, and then when you're selling it on the phone, put another $10, $20 on top. Just a bit of free money there for you. So the process in this one is a little bit more complicated. So you've got your meth already on the finish shelf, right? So in terms of the meth production, that's all done and dusted. you're all good there. I'm not going to go into super details on the staff here because I've done a lot of videos on those. So if you're sort of looking for specific tutorials on staff members, do check out the channel. So basically what you want to do is you want to have your botanist, and we've got the botanist working on 6 cocoa plants, and then they bring the cocaine plants up to these 2 drying racks here. And then the drying racks will send 1 load to here and 1 load to here. These will then send the workers will then take the cocaine plants from these shelves to each of the cauldrons. So that one up there is going to fill up these 2 shelves, and they will go to 2 cauldrons. And then that one up there with this botanist is going to fill up those 2 shelves over here, and they're going to go to these cauldrons. The reason I do that is because they will finish filling a cauldron first. So they will put 80 cocoa leaves on this one before putting 1 on this one if you assign 1 shelf to both cauldrons. So I've got 1 shelf for each cauldron, so that way it speeds up the process a little bit quicker. And then the cauldrons all send their exit order, I always forget what it's called, the destination to the lab oven. The lab oven cooks it, and then the lab oven has the finished destination to the finished shelf we discussed earlier on. So because of the way this works, as you can see here, I've got 20 cocaine and a bunch of meth. The meth will tick through nicely. I'd say you probably get through about 5 or 6 stacks of meth for every single stack of coke. So always make sure you've at least got 4 meth on here so it's ticking across nicely. The pain with this system, what makes it sort of very, really busy work, is the process of refilling all of these shelves. So depending on the day, because it's not exactly, it's almost like a 2-day system the way this works, because some days it's a bit slow, the next day it's a bit quicker. You are going to get through about a shelf of this a day on average, all of this stuff here. So what you're going to have to do every single day is bring orders in to keep refilling the stock. Now, you do make plenty of profit doing this, so you don't have to go and get it yourself. It is obviously a lot cheaper. You're saving $200 per delivery, which works out about $600 a day, which, you know, it's not really a lot of money when you're sort of dealing with the quantities that we're dealing with here. So what you're going to have to do a lot is delivery stuff. So you're going to have to open up your delivery phone. What I usually do is I will get 60. So I'll go 60 on the horse semen, 60 on the motor oil, 60 on the paracetamol, 60 on the mega beans, 60 on the batteries. Almost every single time you do that. So you do that on both. So you send this one to docking warehouse, loading dock 1. And in the second one, you go 60 paracetamol, 60 motor oil, 60 mega beans, 60 horse semen, 60 batteries. You're going to have those coming in every single day. Put that one into dock 2. You can leave them out there in the van. They won't disappear. They'll just sit there. So these just keep coming in. And then what I'll do is I will go out in the truck myself, and I will pick up 300 Cokes and fill up my whole trunk with Coke, because you've got 2 Coke stalls at the back here. You've got this Coke shelf here and this Coke shelf here. So you will get through Coke twice as quick as any of the other ingredients. And then for the last one, you can use a 3rd delivery from your Oscar's store here for the gasoline. Again, I usually just get 300 of these and leave the van outside on a different dock. You need plenty of these because as well as having the gasoline up here, you are also using the gasoline on the cauldron. So I've also got a handler who's got the order to bring over gas to each of these cauldrons. Every time they sort of get below 20, he will bring one over. So it's pretty much merging my meth and cocaine factories into a single factory with the meth production elsewhere, just because it means the cocaine factory's output is a lot higher than what it was before. As you can see here, like I've emptied this shelf a little while ago. I don't know, is it this one here? I've got a whole shelf of my produce somewhere. This is just from the last couple of days of play. Like I've got tons. I've got more than I'm ever going to need. So dial this back if you want to. You don't need to go as insane as I am. I just like doing things bigger and badder than I did before. But if you've got any questions, do post a comment below and I'll help you if I can. But nice and quick, nice and easy. Get what you need, get back to the game. If we helped you out today, do like, subscribe. I do appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care now.